Spring has sprung. We are so excited about that. Time has changed. That's okay. West Virginia has added another commitment out of high school, and this is a monster 320-pound defensive tackle. We got to talk about him as well as some spring intel just for you guys.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I'm your host here. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby. We're talking football today. Get into some other stuff, too. Obviously, the women are playing a monster championship game today. Super excited about that. Can't be more excited about that game today, which we'll be watching at see if I can get my phone to go actually turn down here. I don't know why it's being resistant to it. But we will absolutely be talking about that as well at some point. But for the most part, guys, I think the Rich Rod and company are in full swing right now with spring practices. I've got some intel today. Very, very interesting offensive line lineups. As they try to get the best five guys on the field, as well as obviously this recruit, which we will talk about here in a second. We're going to talk about all that and more. So stick around for it. But before we do, guys, we have to talk about the channel sponsor. And today we're talking about Mazda. Right now with Mazda. We put that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in that work that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're talking about your team and the Mountaineers every single day. I've always said one of the biggest reasons not only for the success of that 2010 defense, but for the lack of success of subsequent defenses has been the lack of an elite nose tackle for West Virginia. We've had very good ones. We've had promising ones, since then, but we haven't had a Chris Nield that I can think of. Maybe you consider the guy we're going to be talking about alongside this commitment today, and Darius Stills, to be that. But he was more of an athletic guy that you can move along the front. As far as just a dude that you can plant on the nose and do a 0 or a 1 technique with and just let him gobble up the middle of an offensive line, there ain't too many of them guys around. West Virginia signed one yesterday by the name of Dejon, I'm assuming probably, Webb. And this kid's a monster. He really is. He is a big kid. I think this is one of those ones where you really kind of get your hopes up for this one. 6'3", 320, 330 pounds. He's out of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, so in the WPIAL area. And like we said, committed on March 7th. He is coming out of Pine-Richland, which is a program known for discipline and physicality. If you know anything about Pine-Richland, he's been a nightmare for Pennsylvania offensive lines in the state this year and last year. Despite his big kid, massive frame, 40 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks as a junior this past year, which are elite numbers for a pure interior defensive tackle. I say the Darius Stills comparison because it's fitting, in my opinion. But even though you could, Webb is significantly larger at this same stage, but the similarities are there in that they both possess a very violent first step, which you'll see on film here. He doesn't just sit and eat double teams. He actually penetrates into the backfield. Obviously, Stills played with a low center of gravity and at roughly 285. Webb is a true 320-pounder. So they're not exactly the same player, but there is a Stills-esque, if you will, version of this guy who I think can be and this is not a good comparison because it's so high end, but Warren Sapp obviously was an elite nose tackle in the NFL for a long time, but he also ran a 4.5 40. Well, I'm not saying this guy is that, but he's athletic for his size. If you got him down to 285, he would be very interesting, I think. But they're probably going to put weight on him if I had to guess, or at least keep him at 320, so that he can keep the whole point of attack held up against the run game and power four. But he offers that backfield disruption, is what I'm trying to say. His best on-field traits are the elite anchor that he possesses. You'll see it on film. He is nearly impossible. I haven't seen one piece of tape that I've been able to see him get moved off his spot in one-on-one situations. In 2-on-1 situations, which you'll see the very first play, he just splits the double team. It's not even like they're there. He naturally sinks his hips, which makes him a cornerstone for kind of a 3 or 4-man front. The explosive first step is really the crazy part about him. His get off is kind of startling for a dude his size. He often catches guards leaning and blows by them on film, really before they even get their feet fully set. If you look at his hands, he plays with pretty heavy hands too. A really violent type kid, loves to use his hands to split defenders or get the ball carriers and wrap guys up. He is a very powerful dude and is able to stun offensive linemen as well as just shed them off. I mean, I'm not trying to overhype this, but I don't know how this kid isn't being recruited by many more. We'll talk about that in a second. When you watch the film with me, unlike many, what I would consider him to be a quote unquote space eater, who kind of give up once the ball carrier gets past them. That's not this guy. He chooses to consistently chase down plays beyond the line of scrimmage, which is really good. And then when you look at his versatility, he projects as a nose guard, absolutely. But his athleticism was going to allow him to play and slide out over to 3 technique if he really needs to, I think, which gives Zach Alley flexibility and, pass rushing sub packages. That's important as well. He's also the first official commitment of 2027. I think he's a huge get. Obviously, you're getting somebody from the Pittsburgh area region, which West Virginia has prioritized heavily. It's also from a school that you struggled to get in with over the years. So, this is a big win on many, many fronts. And I think this is a guy that when you look at him on film, much less on paper, you start to get real excited about. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to check out the film on DaJour Webb. And here you can see first play of the game. He just splits a double team, gets into the backfield. Great job there. Here he is right here. You can see him one-on-one, just no shot. And look at the closing ability for a guy his size. Once again, just sheds the guard totally off like he's not even there. The more I watch this dude's tape, I get so impressed. Look at this kid here on, number 77 just getting abused by him over and over again. Literally 77 is in therapy right now over this game. Just total abuse over and over again. Look at the abuse. Oh my God. Straight abuse. We're going to call it guard abuse. So it's definitely a felony in the state of Pennsylvania. This kid, now number 58's getting it. No chance. I mean, he can't be stopped. He cannot be blocked. Look at that. There's another double team. No shot. No shot. Not 2 guys. Probably not 3. Look at the leverage. Look at the speed. Look at the ball get off. Guys, we'll be really lucky if we are able to keep this guy. Not that we won't be able to keep him, but if we'll be able to keep him a secret, because there's no shot this guy doesn't start getting many, 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 many more offers, I think. It's just a matter of time. I mean, look at this is a 6'3", 320-pound defensive tackle that's running around like a Darius Stills. It's incredible. There's no way this guy should be. You look at his offer list. I mean, look at that closing speed. Are you kidding me? It's almost too good to be true. So, I get, I mean, look at that. That's incredible. You get this guy, he could take 20 more pounds and probably still be just as athletic. You know, he's interesting, man. I like him a lot. And you need that elite nose. I rewound it, I think, here a couple times somewhere. Yeah, this is another double team block right here. If I go back again, you'll see it. He defeats another double team here. Yeah. So once again, just a great job getting back around to the running back. Yeah, this kid can play, obviously. Super excited for what he brings to the table. Let me just make sure. Let me look at his offer list because I didn't actually pull that up. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. There we go. His offer list is I'm seeing Kent State. I'm seeing Eastern Michigan. I don't know. Looks like he may have been invited to a Penn State camp. But I mean, for the most part, guys, this is definitely an under-recruited guy. There's no doubt. Akron, Youngstown State. How this dude is being overlooked any more than he is beyond me. I highly doubt now that West Virginia is offered him that'll stay the same. It's just the way things work. I would be very surprised if he's not continuing to pile up offers beyond this year. Now, hopefully he remembers the people that, and he's got a lot of people that are really happy looking at his X account here. There's a lot of people that are really happy about him being in this situation. So that's great. Love when somebody deserves it. Let's keep an eye on DaJour Webb. It's a very, very interesting story there. Considering he's so insanely gifted, like when you're watching the film here. I know those of you listen on audio can't see it, but you get a chance to look him up. It's certainly incredible. I definitely think he's at least a 3-star player, right? And I don't even know that he's rated that I could find. Now, keep in mind he's 2 years out, basically still. So, or no, he's going into a senior year next year. So he'll probably get on the radar this coming year for sure. But yeah, for now, man, it's like give this kid at least 3.5 stars or something. Crazy. All right, let's go to break. We'll come right back and we will do the spring intel. The offensive line combinations are interesting right now in spring. It doesn't mean we'll talk about it. We'll take it with a grain of salt. And then obviously we're going to talk about the women's basketball team and some other things. Stick around. This is Locked On West Virginia. Guys, our friends over at Indeed right now are going to say hello, and here's a reason why. Workplace chaos, there's deadlines going on, stacking up, inboxes overflowing, and the one person you had to fill still sitting open. Well, when the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you create the people and reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for with skills, experience, and location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate surfaces for you, stumbles across your post, or etc. You can actually let them take care of it. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you about Indeed, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're still really want to be stuck searching, spend less time doing it and more time interviewing candidates who actually check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually talking to candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results, right? That's what we want. So when you need the right person to kind of cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast, where you can support our show by saying that you heard about us on Indeed sponsored jobs. Indeed.com/podcast, where the terms and conditions apply. Do you need a hire? This is the job for Indeed sponsored jobs. All right, guys, and we got to be talking about our friends at Mazda right now with Mazda. If you didn't know, man, we're killing the game over at Mazda right now. And it has a lot to do with the way Mazda does things, right? I mean, they do things a little differently than most places do, which makes a total ton of sense, right? This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who know, there's more to the score than what's on the screen. These remind us of what it takes to really raise the bar. It takes that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and I'll never quit. We put the same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get here makes it account for me and for you. And there's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, segment 2, and it's time to cracketh the dew. This dew's for you. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I think the best place to go from here is Spring Intel. Like I said, the offensive line combinations are interesting right now. I'll throw a couple of names at you. Malik Agbo, I told you guys about him the other day that he was my hope that he would have a chance this year. He's firmly in the mix at left tackle right now. I'm excited about that. Obviously, the guy that was playing left tackle last year, Nick Cray, probably going to move somewhere else, from what I understand, or at least they're trying him somewhere else right now. So I don't want to say too much because I didn't ask if I could say all this. So, yeah, my guy Agbo left, Cray moving somewhere else. I'm also, Vass obviously going to be in the mix. I'm assuming Livingston's probably got center locked up, and then at the right tackle spot, that's a battle too. So, we know the likely culprits there. We got the transfer from UConn coming in. We've got the freshman that's going to be just an amazing probably All-American at some point for West Virginia, and Kevin Brown. Carson Cassidy, obviously from UConn, is what I'm talking about. But battles along the offensive line, guys are kind of in different spots. They've got obviously Amari Grayson as well that's going to be in that mix. If Malik Agbo is able to come in and steal a job from somebody, that's going to have a trickle down effect on lots of people. Because you want to get your best 5 out there at the end of the day, and whoever that is who that is. Does that mean that, Cray's got to play somewhere else, or does that mean that, Agbo is going to come and move up? Maybe so. I'm also hearing that the offensive line is just already worlds and worlds and worlds better in just the 2 short days, which it's been known based on the weight room stuff and probably other off-season workouts that they've been doing. I mean, of course it's going to be better. They invested in it, but there's always that fear. You never know. It may just not work. They may not gel. I mean, there's multiple reasons, but yeah, I mean, the offensive line, obviously a ton of the way ahead of the defense right now, on the defensive line anyways. Beyond that, Matt Sig had a really, really nice first day. I'm told that he made some big plays in practice and is a super just ridiculous athlete, and is going to make the transition nicely. They think people are optimistic about that. That's a big one. We need him to do that. Told that Cam Cook looks like Cam Cook should look. He's very steady. He doesn't do anything that blows you away. He's just really good at a lot of things. Cam Cook is the guy that, like, he can break off 35 or 40, but he might get caught if you go 50, right? But the thing with Cam Cook is he might break off 4 or 5 20 or 30-yard runs in a game. He's so patient, so good. He's got such good burst. But his top end speed is pretty average, which is fine. You don't really need it to be elite all the time. Maybe it's above average, but yeah. Behind that, I haven't found out anything about the backup running backs yet. I don't know what's going on there, on who's doing what. I couldn't find anything out about corner yet either. But when it comes to wideouts specifically, Jaden Bray back to being a number one type guy. We'll see, if he can maintain it, if he can stay healthy through the spring. That's going to be big. Be interesting to see if they give him a pitch count as far as how much he can do. If he's fully healthy, he's fully healthy. I'm assuming they won't do that. It's just goodness, man. He's been injured 3 years of his career, if you count K-State or Oklahoma State. So we're really hoping Jaden break, and he deserves to break out as well. Just horrible situations with his foot. And foot injuries, unfortunately, in this day and age, even still in this day and age of medical marvels that we have, a foot can be a career ender. Just sometimes they won't. Greg Oden's a good example, right? Probably the biggest bust, one of the 2 or 3 biggest busts in NBA history. At Ohio State, he was one of the best players ever, and then obviously his feet just went to hell, and he was never able to really become what he was supposed to be. So he's one. But yeah, back to West Virginia football team. The quarterbacks, obviously, I probably could have ran with it, but there's really not a whole lot there. I'm told that, Mike Hawkins Jr. hasn't really separated or anything, obviously, and that he hasn't really he's not having those moments yet because he's still learning the playbook and everything. I'm sure he's probably had a couple wow moments, but this person told me he doesn't seem comfortable yet. And so Scotty Fox obviously knows the playbook. He knows everything that's going on. So Scotty Fox probably looks ahead right now. We'll see if that continues along that path once they get into the summer, because you got to think you're going to have to give Mike Hawkins Jr. this whole spring to catch up to Scotty. When they get into the summer, that's when I think we're really going to find out who separates. I definitely don't think it's going to be 100% Scotty. I don't think it's 100% Hawkins either. I think both guys have a chance at the spot, but we definitely have to be aware of it going forward as far as situationally. Obviously Hawkins just been here a lot less time, so Scotty should be ahead right now. That's not a big deal. But obviously we just want to win, and whoever the best is, we want them to play. So we'll continue to root for everybody. Let's go to break one more time. We'll come back and we'll talk about these women, and we'll watch the game. Oh, the game is on, actually. You know what? Let's go to break really quick. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we got to talk about our friends at – where are we at here? What are we looking at? 5 Hour Energy right now, and it's the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft with 18 flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or cotton candy, because there's something new for everyone. Here we go. The board is set, flavors are ready, and I'm ready to give you my number one pick for the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft. And if you're not sure what that is, it's gotta be strawberry, watermelon, sweet and tart, candy-like flavor on it. The ultimate flavor duo as well. Some flavors were just made to go together, right? And we all know that strawberry and watermelon is one of those deals. So make sure you're checking it out, as it is great. And obviously for a secondary option, you can't do better than Fruity Rainbow, which is a bright blend of assorted fruit candy flavors. It's got sweet layered fruit notes in every single sip, playful kind of multi-taste fruit profile with smooth and easy drinking texture. There's that nostalgic candy bag flavor impression you get from it, and it's got a sweet, colorful finish that really kind of lingers just a little bit. So make sure you're checking that out, guys, as well. And all the things that have to be going on with 5-Hour Energy Shots online, available online at 5hourenergy.com, or you can find it on Amazon. All right, guys. The women's basketball team is currently on, or they'll be tipping off any second. So what I say is, let me make sure here. It should be tipped off anyway. It looks like it's not tipped off quite yet. So let's go ahead and go. If you are rooting for the women, I highly suggest watching the championship game today. And let's go Mimi, let's go Jordan, let's go Gia, let's go all my, Riley and everybody else, Celia, everybody that's playing today. We're rooting for you guys, and certainly hope you pull out a Big 12 title. If they do, I'll be back right after the game is over. I'm going live after the game one way or the other. Just depends on what we're talking about. If they win, obviously we're talking about that. If they lose and it's boring, we may not, feature it. We'll talk about it in the second segment. Either way, we'll talk about the game, but whether it's first or second segment depends on if they win. We will see you after the game here at Locked On West Virginia live, guys. I'll see you then. Until then, though, make sure you're checking out the Locked On Everyday Club. Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin is well worth checking out. And don't forget to cue those country roads. See you in a few.